We are discussing R.D. Sharma, Class 11, Chapter 29, Limits. So, what is a limit? What does it mean? Limit and continuity. Whenever we talk about limit, let me tell you what is the meaning. Limit is boundary or a point which is out of bound for you. You cannot go there. That means people say when you're talking, be in your limits. That means this is a prohibited area or you cannot go there. For example, a defense area. In a defense area, you cannot go. That is out of bound. If it is a hostel, that is, especially the women hostel, after 8 or 10, you cannot go out. That is limit. So this kind of limit in mathematics, how do we relate it? It always comes with function. So whenever we talk about function, there are different type of function, and that there are, in order to prove it, the differentiability, the continuity, the function is basically, and the limit is, and the derivative is, let me give you a overview. Dx by dt, don't understand it, just listen. Dx by dt is that if you start from one distance to another distance in time 1 to time 2, so the rate of change, how much it is? That is, if you know the time t1 value of x1, can you find out the time t2 value of x2? Okay. So if we have a graph or a line, straight line, I can make a parabola, hyperbola, any conic section, a signum function or any other function like this, or some, you can have a cos function, this tan function, cot function. All these kind of functions are there, and these are different type of function. They are not same. Functions have different type of interpretation. So if I take this example, this is x2, x1, and this is t2, t1. Say one is on the x-axis, one is on the y-axis. So when at t1 the distance is x1, can we interpret from this graph that what will be x2 at t2? This is what our interest is. So we have a line, we have x, and say this is at t1 time and this is at t2 time. So we can easily find out that at t1 the distance was x1, but t2 distance was x2. But this kind of function, the third one I am showing, you're going straight, you got a prohibited area. That is, if you want to draw this graph, you have to lift your pen up. You cannot continuously draw it as the previous two cases. So there is a break here. There is a point where there is a break. Here also, if you want to draw this graph or this function, you have to lift up your pen. So if you have a point x1, this point t1 and t2, you want to find out x1 and x2, this is not possible here easily because you are lifting your pen, you don't know it is on the first part or the second part. So wherever there is a breakage or there is a point of prohibition, you are limited, and this limitation is for variety of functions, because functions are tremendously large number. There may be some functions which are continuous, there may be some functions they are non-continuous. That is, if you want to differentiate them later on, you need to find their continuity first. I'll give you an example more. You have your 4 chocolates, you have to divide it into 2. So there are 2 kids, 2 chocolates to 1, 2 chocolates to 1, it's so easy. Now if you have 5 chocolates, it goes 2.5, 2.5. Now if I say there are 4 chocolates and you have to divide it by 0, that is, first you will think, what is this question? Means I have 4 chocolates, I have to divide it in 0 parts. That is, you can divide it into infinite parts. When you don't have कुछ भी नहीं divide करना है, then you can divide it into infinite parts. There is no limit. Infinite means what? If you start counting a number, and if you, so I'll show you with a number line. You go to right hand side, it will be plus numbers. I'm taking integers. So 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 1 million, 1 billion, hundreds of billions, it will come. Now you take one number and you say that this is the highest number. You'll just come to me, I'll just add 1 and I'll say this is the new number. So there is no end to this number. There is no end to this line. So there is no point, there is no number which is the highest number. You can always add a 1 and you can say that this is the next number. Okay? So there is no number which we can count which is the end is limitless. So we denote it by a symbol infinite, and infinite is properly defined. That infinite means a number which is highest, which cannot be there. You'll always come to me and I'll add a 1. See, if you want to count the stars, they are innumerable, but there will be some number to them, but they are innumerable. We cannot count them. You are going to positive side. If I go to negative side, negative numbers are also there on number line. So these are the negative numbers. Now if you come to me and you say, I have this minus x number and this is the least number, this is the leastest number. Okay. So what will I do? What will I do? I'll say, I'll add one more here on the negative side, and that will be the new least. So again the Pandora box will open that there is no number which can be highest on the negative side. You will always come to me, I'll go step left side. So again we are stuck. So we represent it by infinity with a negative sign. We give a negative sign, negative infinity. So whenever we divide 4 by 0, that means it's not defined. How can we divide something by nothing? If we want to divide something by nothing, I can divide it infinite times. It will be infinite. So that is how the infinity comes. And infinity is not defined. As I told you, you come to me with number, I'll just add 1. So you cannot have a highest number on either on a positive side or a negative side. So whenever we have 0 by 2, it's very defined because there is nothing. You have to divide it by 2, so there will be nothing. 0 by 2 is properly defined. But anything divided by 0 is not defined. If you take 2 raised to the power 0, that means what? It's 1. Anything to the power 0 is 1. So this is defined. But the only problem here what we see is dividing by 0. All the things like infinity minus infinity, infinity divided by infinity, or 0 divided by infinity, all these infinity divided by 0, all these are indeterminate case. There will be multiple indeterminate case. But everything comes down to divided by 0. There are multiple things you will learn later on when I will discuss. But you have to keep in mind the only problem is division by 0. I hope you got the idea. That is where we have to define our function. And when we are stuck in such situation, we use limits. Because there is a roadblock. This is a roadblock and there is a problem here. This is our limit, but we have something on the other side also. So in order to get the differentiability, we need to check for the continuity. Whether the function is continuous or not, we don't need to lift up our pen. So whenever we have a curve or a line which is straight, continuous in a curve, this is a curve. But these two functions, other two functions cannot be made, so they are not differentiable because they are not continuous. And when they are not continuous, how to tell? You cannot make a graph every time. You need to have certain scenario, certain mathematical concept. And limited is that concept to show that the function is not continuous. It's somewhere broken. Somewhere it has some problem. Or somewhere it is undefined. So I'll start with an example and you'll understand this example quite, whatever I discussed, you'll relate it with this. Always remember, we only talk about functions here because only function we talk about limit, continuity, differentiability. All these will come only for functions. Only for functions. That is for any value of x, y will come. For x, there will be some y value. Okay. But for x, any x for which y is not defined, that is y will not be defined, or for any x the function will not be defined, that will be our problem. That is going to be dealt in limits. So x square minus 4 by x minus 2. Now I just tell you, put x equals 2. You will say, oh, why not? I'll just put x equals 2. 2 square minus 4 by 2 minus 2. It's got 4 minus 4 by 2 minus 2. That is 0 by 0. And now here the problem is 0 by 0. Oh my God. The above 0 has nothing to do here because above 0 means will make the function 0. But what about 0 in the denominator? What about the number which is in the denominator? Our problem is not with the above 0. Our problem is with the below 0. Dividing by 0, you will get infinite. And that infinite is not defined. You cannot have a number which is infinite. You can always have a number highest, but I'll add 1. So the point is, x equals to, this function is showing some problem. That is, if I just make this line, see, fx equal x square minus 4 by x minus 2, I can always write this. This function is very easy. Later we'll see some more, typical questions. So see here, x square minus 4 by x minus 2, what does it mean? We have, so we can estimate. What we can estimate? This function can be written in an algebraic way. I can write x square minus 4 as x minus 2 x plus 2 and divided by x minus 2. So I can just cancel out this x minus 2 x minus 2, I'll get x plus 2. So we have y equals x plus 2. So y equals x plus 2 is a straight line. Y equals mx plus c. It's a straight line. So you can just draw a line. You have a function with a straight line. Okay, but it is showing some problem at 2. So there is a problem at 2. So just make a round circle at 2. And you see that I am just showing you that this is a line. But if I don't draw this line, you will not be able to know that this is a continuous line. 2 is showing some trouble, but there is no trouble. There is no problem here at 2. Because always this function is a straight line. This is a continuous function. So always this function x square minus 4 by x minus 2 can be formed in x plus 2. Say if you are eating something, say 5 chocolates. If you are eating 4 chocolates, you might have eaten third, and if you are eating fifth, you might have eaten fourth. So when you are eating, just finishing third chocolate, 3.99, you will be approaching fourth chocolate. And when you have started eating fifth chocolate, that means you have just culminated eating or finished eating fourth one. So that fourth one, just before that we know, after fourth chocolate, after that also we know. So if you are saying that at 4 I have to see something, I can go to 3.99. That is only when you have finished the third chocolate, then only you have eaten fourth chocolate. And when you have started fifth only when the fourth is finished. So this 2 is a trouble, which is not by this graph. It's quite seen that 2 is not a trouble here. But before 2 and after 2, if we are able to find out the value, we know that it is approaching it, because 4 is equal to 3.99 and 4.01 is equal to 4. Always we used to do this in mathematics. In mathematics, if you have 3.999, you always write it as 4. Okay. So why not to go to that 3.999 and find out the value, because it will be as good as 4. 1.99 we write as 2. 1.999 also we write as 2 up till now. We always written as 2. We never write the answer as 1.9999. We always write it as 2. Okay. So this 1.999 is the point we are talking about. We are not going to 2, because as far as we see, 2 is a trouble. If you are driving a vehicle, now you just go up to this point. There is a pit here, gadha. So if there is a gadha, either if you are coming from the left hand side or right hand side, then at this point, just before that you stop, because otherwise you are going to fall in the pit. So left hand limit, right hand limit is exactly that. Left hand limit and right hand limit is exactly that. Okay. So I'll just give you an example with the number. So in this function, if I put x equals 2, you can see that it is 0 by 0. When you put x equals 2, it is 0 by 0. But if you just take a value which is just previous to 2, which is say 1.99. So it will be 3.99. Now just take one more step backwards, 1.9, it will be 3.9. If you go ahead 2, that is 2.01, you will get a value. You are putting 2.01, you will get 4.01. You put 2.1, you are going to get 4.1. Now this 3.99, after this 3.99, it is a problem. Before 4.01, it is a problem. That is x equals to 2 is going to use 0 by 0. So what do? There is a straight line, and we can know by the graph that that x equals to 2 is not a problem. But we always not draw a function. We have to see a function, and with some certain mathematics we have to decide that this function is really not critical at that point. As you see, y equals x plus 2 is claiming that this function is not having any problem at x equals to 2, which is being claimed by the question. It is having no problem because it is a straight line. So when we write y equals x plus 2, x equals 2, just put here, you will get 4. So there is a proper value at 2 we are getting. So when you are getting 4 at 2, but if you don't use this algebraic say skills, you directly put x equals to 2 in the original function, you will get 0 by 0. You are getting 0 by 0. So just by using algebraic skill, you are getting 4. But if you are not able to use it, you just put directly value, you are getting 0 by 0. So this 3.99, 4.01, is this the highest limit which we can achieve? We are going from left hand side, we are going from right hand side, we are approaching from the right hand side, left hand side, right hand side. That is, you just don't have to go up to 2. Don't fall in the pit, just be on the verge of falling. When you are coming from the right, don't fall in the pit, just be on the verge of falling. That is just a number which is coming just after 2, stop. Just a number which is just coming before 2, stop. Don't, you can see 2 but don't touch him. That is the thing. So see, this is x-axis, this is positive, this is negative x-axis. So what is the convention? Always we take on the right hand side positive, left hand side we are negative. So just imagine that 2 is our origin. So right hand, when you are going to left hand side, left hand limit, we will put it as 2 minus here. So we have the fx will be 4, because 3.99, if you are putting 2 minus just value before 2, it's going to be 4. We know 3.99999 is 4 only. Okay. So we have to write it in the limit form. How do we write limit? You can't go beyond that verge point. So limit. Now limit. See, x tends to 2 minus. Now tends to 2 minus means just a value which is just before 2. Just before 2. You are not just going to do, just seeing 2, just not touching him. 2, if he is a man. So what you are going to do? Fx equals 4. It's good. You know, just before 2 minus 3.9999, it is going to give you 4 only. 3.9999 is equal to 4 only. Right? So this is your left hand side limit. Now coming to the right hand side. By convention, we know always we write on the right hand side we take plus. So we have x tends to 2 plus. 2 plus is a superscript. So we have fx tends to 4 when we have just value 2 which is just ahead of 2, a value after 2 which is just not touching it but just standing besides 2, it is 2 plus, and you are also going to get 4 because 4.01 is equivalent to 4. Okay. Now I'll give you an example which is showing that it is not differentiable. See, this function was quite easy because it was continuous. But there are certain functions, there are functions which are not differentiable. So how are we going to deal with that function? See, fx equals mod of x minus 3 by x minus 3. If you see here, if I put x equals 3 directly, it will be 3 minus 3 mod divided by 3 minus 3. So you have mod 0 by 0, and that is again the problem is same. The first point I discussed in the few minutes of this discussion, the same thing has come, infinite. Infinite is not defined. Though it is defined, that is a number which is the highest. You can define it, but nobody can define it. I'll just add a 1 to it. So that is, this function, previous function was a straight line. It was continuous, but this function which we are talking about is not even continuous. Why? If x is negative, I'll just give you first some points here. First thing is, if I put x as 2, just before 3, so you get 2 minus 3, you get minus 1 above, and in the below also you get 2 minus 3, that is minus 1. So the modulus will take a positive number, and the below will be negative. So positive negative will be negative. So if you go to the left hand side of 3, x equal to 3 is the critical point. If you take values which are just previous to 3, you will always get a negative value. And when you take a positive value, say I take x equals 4. So 4 minus 3 by 4 minus 3, mod is also plus, below is also plus 1 by 1 is 1. So every time you will get a 1 value whenever you go after 3. So 3 is a critical point. All the points which are, all the values after 3 is positive for this function, and all the values which are previous to 3 will always be negative. These are all y equals -1. fx is y only. I'll just show you this. See, if I put x equals 3, you're going to get 0 by 0. If you put x equals to 2 minus 99, you'll get -1. If you put 2.5, whatever value you put, it will always be -1. No change. But if you have 3.01, 3.1, 3.5, which is a value higher than 3, you'll always get +1. No change. So only two y values are coming. Either -1, either +1, or 0 by 0. And that 0 by 0 is your pit, is your point where the function is not continuous. I'll just show you how. See, this is a function, and now here we have y equals 1. For any value of x which is greater than 3, all values which are above than 3, you are going to get always +1, y equals +1. And in the below one, you see all the values which are just previous to 3, you'll always get as negative 1. No other value, +1, -1. But there is a gap. If I come here, you have to pick your pen up, lift your pen up in order to draw this whole function. So there is a pit here, there is a gap here. This function is not continuous. By only seeing the function, you cannot deduce that this function is not continuous. It is having some trouble in between, and it is indeed having a trouble. Previous function was not having a trouble, though it seems to. Here it is actually having a trouble. So limit x tends to 3 minus fx is always -1, and limit x tends to x when x tends to 3 plus, that is, which is a number which is very close to 3, of course above than 3 and very close to 3. So you have x equals 1. So the left hand side limit and right hand side limit are not equal. One is coming -1, one is come 1. So that is the problem. Okay. So this is all about limit. We'll be taking a few more of them in the later discussion. But let me just tell you what we do. See, 3 and just value previous to 3 and after 3. So if I take a is the critical point, which is 3. So what do we do in finding out these limits, left hand limit and right hand limit? What do? We just take a value which is very small. That is, if I am standing to you, you are in the middle, I am standing, you are in the middle, and my friend on the other side is standing. So the difference or the distance between me and you has to be very small, very small. Our shoulders should be touching, and the distance between you and the other friend of ours should also be like that. So we have a very small h. You are 3 here, a equals 3. You are 3 here, and the distance between you and me, you are origin. So on that side it will be positive, on my side it will be negative. So we have to touch each other, but that touching has to be very small. We cannot, because say you are forbidden. If I touch you properly, all will die. That is the case. So a minus h, a is the critical point. Anything which is before that, a minus h will be. Anything which is higher than 3, very close to 3 but higher than 3, it will be a plus h. A is the critical point, which is 3 here. H is a very small number which is just close to 3. So whenever we take the the right hand side, it will be a plus h. That is, we are just adding something to 3 to make it equivalent to 3. And in the left hand side, we are just subtracting h, so that we are going to subtract. Limits. In this, we are going to see how we are going to find out where the limit exists or not. That is, left hand limit and right hand limit. How do we find out? So limit is that point, that position that is somewhere which is critical. That is, for any function you are dealing with, this point will be either indeterminate. In order to find out the continuity and differentiability, we always try to find out the limit. Okay. So let us assume that we have a function. We want to see whether this is a continuous function, differentiable function. For that we need to find out the left hand limit and right hand limit. So we have this function. When x is not equal to 4, we have mod x minus 4 by x minus 4. And when x is equal to 4, it is 0. So this is your function. So how do we do this? We'll do the left hand side and right hand side at the same time. So the problem, if you see here, x minus 4 by x minus 4, if I say you to put x equals 4, it will be 0 by 0. Mod 0 is 0. So this is an indeterminate condition. That is an undefined condition. So this point at 4, this is critical. This is a, whichever side you take, negative side or positive side, positive is always taken on the right and that is negative on the left. So if we are able to reach just closer to 4 from either side, so we are coming from the left hand side, it is left hand limit, and right hand side is left hand limit. So we have to subtract something if we are coming from left hand limit, because we are just behind 4 or near to 4. So we will subtract some h which is very small, and if we are coming from right hand side, we are ahead of 4. So we have to add that small bit h to a. So this a minus h, a plus h, we want to reach from either of the side closer to 4. We cannot go to 4 because of course it is giving us 0 by 0. But we just want to just get closer and closer. That is, h has to be so less. H is 0, that will be very good. But it is not possible because it will give you 0 by 0. So this h should tend to 0. H should be as close to 0. You got the idea? So when we take the left hand side or left hand limit, we'll take the right hand limit also at the same time. This is a problem showing you how to find out left hand limit and right hand limit. So the algorithm is saying there is a proper algorithm. So first we have to write in the limit form, because this is a function, this is not in a limit form right now. So you have to write it in the limit form first. So this is the algorithm which says that. So this is writing limit fx, x tends to a plus or a minus. So we have this limit x tends to, what is a? A is 4 here. A is the critical point. A is the limit point. So we have on the negative side or left hand side we are talking about. So it will be 4 superscript minus. Similarly, with analogy, we have on the right hand side, again we have to write the limit x tends to a plus fx. So limit x tends to, what is a here? 4 plus is above, and fx of course. So this is the first step. The second step is you have to put x equals a minus h on the left hand side, left hand limit, and we have to put x equals a plus h on the right hand side, right hand limit. And then you have to replace this x tends to a minus, because when you replace x with something else, that is say h or something with h will be the limit now. And we have to obtain limit h tends to 0 f a minus h. That is, in place of x, we have to put a minus h. What is a here? A is 4. So we have limit. In place of x, I am putting a minus h. 4 is a, 4 minus h. That is a point which is just previous to 4. Here we have a plus h. That is a point which is just after the h, 4. So we have fx. When we replace x with 4 minus h, we are not interested in x now. If I replace x with a plus h, when we are talking about limit of x, because x is not there, x has been replaced by a plus h and a minus h. We will not talk about x now. We will talk about h now. A is already constant, so it's 4. But we have to find out about h. So as I said, h has to be as small as possible. That is, it goes to 0. So we say h tends to 0, because we just want to get closer to 4. So here we have 4 plus h, again same thing. When we have 4 plus h, again h tends to 0, because we have actually replaced x with 4 plus h. Now we will not talk about x, we will talk about h. Now what is the next step? Now since we have f4 minus h, just put x as 4 minus h, and on the right hand limit, just put x as 4 plus h. So we have limit h tends to 0, and now I am putting x as 4 minus h. So in the function also, x will be 4 minus h. So 4 minus h minus 4, x again 4 minus h, so 4 minus h minus 4, this is mod. Same here, limit h tends to 0, but here 4 plus h we are replacing, not 4 minus h, because that was on the left hand side. Right hand limit 4 plus h, whatever is coming out of mod will always be positive. So this is 4 plus a plus h, that is of course 4, this is x minus 4. So x is actually 4 plus h minus 4. So what do you get here? 4 gets cancelled, 4 gets cancelled from the denominator also. You have minus h under the modulus, and we have minus h in the denominator. You have 4 here on the right hand side. We have mod h by 4 cancels h. Here you will get mod minus h will be positive h. Mod h will be positive h, and below we have minus h. So h by minus h is minus 1. So what do you get? You have minus 1 as the left hand limit. Minus 1, and here we have the mod h by h, that is h by h, mod h will be plus always. So we have 1. So right hand limit is 1. That means left hand side and right hand limit are not same. This function is not continuous. This is not differentiable also. So if they are equal, that means the function is continuous. I hope you got the idea. So whenever we replace x by 4 minus, next time we replace x by h, and now the limit will change to h. So left hand side, right hand side, if they are equal, that means the function is continuous, otherwise it is discontinuous or undifferentiable. How we are going to evaluate the algebraic limits? That means evaluation of algebraic limits. We'll talk about trigonometric later, but here there are certain methods, certain ways. In a broad categorization, there are 5 categories. 5. The first one is called as direct substitution method. First is called direct substitution method. Here, as the name suggests, we will just put the value, directly the value. For example, we have limit x tends to a, and we have a function here fx. We will put a in place of x directly. Let me tell you what we have discussed earlier. That is, if we have infinity by infinity, we have 0 into infinity, we have infinity minus infinity, or 0 to the power 0, infinity to the power 0, or we have 1 to the power infinity. All these are the forms where we are dealing with infinite, that is 0 by 0, or you can say 1 by 0. 1 by 0 is what we are dealing with. That is, this is not a continuous function, whichever we are discussing. It's cut somewhere, or it is not continuous. That is why it is not differentiable. So this is a thing here. So I was discussing about first method, direct substitution method. So what do we do here? For example, let me take an example. Here limit x tends to 2, x square minus 4 by x plus 3. Now if I put x as 2, what will happen? No, nothing is going to happen, because it will be 2 square, that is 4 minus 4 by 2 plus 3. That is 0 by 5. So it's a legal value, it's a valid value. 0 is a valid value. So no problem, even if you put x as 2, it doesn't matter. Only the infinite is our scenario. That is where we think. So first thing is, just put the value directly. This is direct substitution. The second one is the factorization method. Factorization method. So the name is suggesting factorize. Do the factorization. We'll do the factorization. So if we are able to make the factors of numerator and denominator, if we have function of this fx by gx form, we have limit x tends to a, fx by gx. These are two functions, numerator, denominator. Now if the limit is x tending to a, if we put somewhere something so that 0 by 0 comes, now we have to think in another way. That is 0 by 0 we cannot deal with. Or even gx is 0, that is also not also what we are thinking of, because that will be infinite. So we need to factorize in a way so that we get a proper result. So there are certain formula you have to remember. A square minus b square is a minus b, a plus b. You just need to remember, because this is what we are going to use a lot. A cube minus b cube, this is equal to a minus b, a plus b, a square plus ab plus b square. Then we have a cube plus b cube. A cube plus b cube is what? A plus b, a square. Here it will be minus ab plus b squared. Then we have a to the power 4 minus b to the power 4. So here you get a square minus b square into a square plus b square. And this a square minus b square can also be opened, a minus b, a plus b. So a square plus b square. So this formula we are going to use a lot. So I'll just give an example so that you understand how do we factorize it, what is the procedure. So let us take a small example. We have this limit x tends to 1, and we have x cube minus 1 by x minus 1. So x cube minus 1, now this 1 can be written as 1 cube. So this is a formula of a cube minus b cube. A cube minus b cube. So we can apply this formula I just mentioned. A minus b, a square plus ab plus b square. And a, what is a here? X. B is what here? 1. So let's use this formula. A is x and b is 1. So just put it here. X minus 1, x square plus x plus 1 divided by x minus 1. Now limit is x tends to 1. Now see, x minus 1, you can just cancel them. You can cancel them. So only x square plus x plus 1 will remain. And this will remain. That means you can always put x as 1 here. Just put x as 1. So we have 1, 1, 1. So 3. That is 0 by 0 problem, or that thing we have devised a method. Now the limit is existing. Sometimes limit exists, left hand limit exists, right hand limit exists. So all these permutation combination we need to see while solving all this. The third method which we are discussing is the rationalization method. What method? Rationalization method. So rationalization simple means it has to be in px by qx or fx or gx form. So wherever we have this form 0 by 0 or infinity by infinity form, then in order to remove it or to get rid of it, if at all it is possible, we will multiply it with a conjugate or a rational way. So minus to plus, plus to minus. So here let me show you. This is limit x tends to 0. Here we have root 2 plus x minus root 2 divided by x. So this x is tending to 0. If you put x as 0, you get root 2 minus root 2 by 0. And this is of course 0 by 0, which is what we don't want. 0 by 0. So what do? We will do the rationalization here. So we will multiply numerator and denominator by the conjugate of, or the rationalization factor of the numerator. Let's see here. So we will multiply numerator and denominator by root 2 plus x plus root 2 plus x plus root 2. So root 2x plus root 2 and root 2x plus root 2, numerator denominator. So a plus b, a minus b, again a square minus b square we can use. We know the formula here. So root 2 plus x whole square, a square. A is root 2 plus x, b is root 2. So a square minus b square, and here we have x into root 2 plus x and plus root 2. A square minus b square, if you open 2x, 2 plus x minus 2. So we have x in the denominator. So x only remain in the numerator and there is 1 in the denominator. So eventually you have removed this x this x gets cancelled out. So now you put x as 0 here, it will be 1 by root 2 plus root 2, that is 2 root 2. So the problem of 0 by 0 infinity by infinity has been avoided here. Now the fourth method which we are going to discuss, this is called as evaluation of algebraic limits by using some standard limits. So there are certain standard relations, standard way, and that we can use. So we are not going to prove this. I'll just tell you a theorem. This is x to the power n minus a to the power n, x minus a. Here we have this as limit x tends to a, it will be n a to the power n minus 1. So wherever we have this kind of algebraic expression, we will directly use n a to the power n minus 1. We will directly use the formula. And this is not the only one. There are other relationships also that can be directly applied. I am giving you one of them so that you understand how we apply it. So you don't have to go to the proof of this. So let me just the benefit. How do we? Let me take an example so that we understand better. This is limit x tends to 2, x to the power 10 minus 1024 by x minus 2. Now if you see here, this is 1024. 1024 is 2 to the power 10. So this is x to the power 10 minus 2 to the power 10 by x minus 2. So this is of this form. X is x here, a is 2 here, and n is 10 here. So if you say x tends to 2, so you can, if you put x as 2, it will be 0 by 0. 2 to the power 10 minus 2 to the power 10 divided by 2 minus 2. So what we do, we'll use the standard result which we already have. So we will use 10, a is 2, so 10 2 to the power 10 minus 1, 2 to the power 9. So 10 2 to the power 9, this is what we are going to use, and that is going to be 5120. So these are evaluation of algebraic limits by using some standard limits. This is the fourth method. Now the fifth method of algebraic solution of evaluating the limit is method of evaluation of algebraic limits at infinity. Now what does it mean? This means, you know, the infinity is a very huge number, very long number which we don't know. It's on the number line, end of the number line, and end is not known. Now if you see x is, if you increase x, if I just give a limit, x tends to say infinite. So either it can be minus infinite or plus infinite, doesn't matter. It will be a very huge value. So when we have this huge value, we have this 1 by x, 1 by infinite value will be 0. Because if you divide anything with a very infinite number, it will give you 0. So 1 by x square, or whatever is in the denominator, if you put it as infinite, if the denominator is infinite, the result will come always as 0. This is the logic. These are the logic which we have to use in this solution. So let me just tell you a few more. If limit x tends to infinity c, so you are putting some limit, but it is a constant. 4 is a constant. So what do you get? You will always get 4. I hope you got the idea. If you have plus infinity or minus infinity, it doesn't matter. It will always be 4 because there is no x involved. So we have limit x tends to infinity. X tends to infinity is a very huge number. And if you have a constant number and if you divide by some x or x square or x to the power n, this x is infinity. So you will always get, because the denominator is in infinity, you will always get 0. Infinity to the power n is infinity. Anything divided by infinity is always 0. Either plus infinity or minus infinity. That is what we are going to use in solving this. So there are steps which we have to take, and I'll explain it with an example. So how do we do this? See, first we have limit x tends to infinity, and we have ax square plus bx plus c, and we have this denominator as dx square plus ex plus f. Now what the first, if I apply infinity directly, it will be infinite by infinite you are going to get. Okay, anything you have infinite, add anything with infinite, it will be infinite. So we don't know, we don't want this. Okay, so first thing is, the first step is you have to take the highest power of x in numerator and denominator both, then divide each term in numerator and denominator by this term x to the power k, whichever it is. So we have ax square plus bx plus c. We are dividing x square, which is the highest power here, dividing numerator and denominator by x square. So dx square plus cx plus f, again divided by x square. Highest power. If it would have been x cube, we would have used x cube. So what do you get? A, here you get b by x, here you get c by x square. Similarly, you have d by d here, and then e by x plus f by x square. Now the logic I explained you earlier. If you apply limit x tends to infinity, I am writing on the right hand side, it is pertaining to this one. So x is infinite, so this b by x will be 0. Anything which is having infinite in the denominator will be 0. Only a will remain. Otherwise, b by infinity 0, c by infinity 0, d will remain like this, e by infinity 0, f by infinity 0. So what do you get? A by d. Okay. This is how we resolve this issue using this algorithm which we use for method of evaluation of algebraic limits at infinity. Methods. So we are taking the evaluation of trigonometric limits. So there are three methods. How to do this? When we have trigonometric identities involved, trigonometric relationships involved, then see, first one is when we have a limit theta tends to 0. I'll tell you I'll write directly the relationships. So limit theta tends to 0, sin theta is 0. Second one is limit theta tends to 0, and we are talking about cos theta here. Cos 0 is what? It's 1. These are all standard. We can always give a proof of that, but you just know the relationships, theorems. Sin theta by theta, limit theta tends to 0 is 1. But theta is in radians. One more. Now sin theta by theta we have done. Let us take tan theta by theta. Limit theta tends to 0. We have tan theta by theta divided by theta is 1. Let us take one more or two more. The variation is that if this sin theta by theta, if you write it as sin theta minus a by theta minus a can be any constant here. So we will change the limit also. It will be theta tends to a, then only it will be 0 by 0 form. 0 by 0, that is infinite form. So this is going to be again 1. Like the third one, this will also be 1. What about another one? That is tan theta minus alpha or theta minus a by theta minus a. Limit theta tends to a, tan theta minus a by theta minus a. So what do we get here? We get 1. Again 1. So we'll use it directly. So let me take an example set so that you understand how do we apply this. This is a NCERT question. So we have sin AX by sin BX and limit x tends to 0. Same way we'll do it. So this is sin AX. Let us divide it by AX. Then we have, since we have AX, so we have to multiply it by AX because AX we have introduced. Sin BX in the denominator. Now let us have BX. And bx we have to again add because we have by ourselves added it. Now limit we can separate. Limit for all these three we can apply it separately. It doesn't matter. So this is sin ax by x. What is this formula? I told you the limit x tends to 0, its sine theta by theta is what? 1. Is 1. So again sine bx by bx is 1. So 1 by 1 is 1. Again 1. And ax by bx, x you can cancel, a by b remains. So limit x tends to 0 for a constant is a constant, a by b. So this is going to be the answer, a by b will come. So these standard results we can use, standard results. Now all these we have seen x tends to 0, but there may be possibility when we have to evaluate the trigonometric limits when the variable tends not to 0. That is, it is not tending to 0, variable tends to a non-zero quantity. Non-zero quantity. So if you remember, when we were discussing limit exists or limit is there when we have left hand and right hand limit also exist and they are equal. So left hand limit x tends to a minus, right hand limit x tends to a plus implies that limit x tends to a fx exists, is there. Okay. So non-zero. So we'll use this right hand limit in order to solve this. So when we have limit x tends to a fx, we'll use x tends to a plus, that is right hand limit. So x tends to a plus fx, that is, what do? Whenever we have this a, we take a plus h and then a minus h, that is a plus h on the right hand limit, a minus h in the left hand limit. So a plus h, right hand limit we are using, a plus h. So we have a plus h. So this h is very small, h tends to 0. So h tends to 0. Limit x tends to 0 will become x tends to a becomes h tends to 0, fa plus h. Fa plus h. So I'm going to give you an example so that you understand what we have just did. The example is something like this. Limit x tends to pi by 2 and 1 plus cos 2x by pi minus 2x whole square. So we have to find out the limit using this method because x is not tending to 0, x is tending to pi by 2. X is tending to pi by 2. So what we will do? First of all, we have to replace x by pi by 2 plus h, that is the right hand limit, x as pi by 2 plus h. And then we have h tends to 0. So limit h tends to 0, 1 plus cos 2 x we are replacing by pi by 2 plus h. Similarly, we have pi minus 2 and x as pi by 2 plus h. Okay, make it all square. So now you have this, multiply this cos 2 into pi by 2 is cos pi plus 2x. Inside this we have 1 plus cos pi plus 2x inside this. And in the denominator I am not going to solve this fully, it will take time. So 4h square will come. Cos 180 plus theta is what? Minus cos theta. It's minus cos theta. Cos 180 plus theta. Limit is already there, okay? Left hand side, assume limit is going on. So 1 minus cos 2h by 4h square. 1 minus cos 2h is what? It's 2 sin square h. 2 sin square h. And denominator we already have 4h square. Now take this 2 out, 2 by 4, that is half outside. And sin square h by h square, you can take 1 by 1. Take them separately. Half, take limit, 1 limit. Sin square h by h square. So sin h by h I am taking 1. And we have sin h by h another one. We are now applying limit. H tends to 0. Here also limit h tends to 0. Now this sin h by h, we have seen this. This is 1. And here also sin h by h, it's 1. So half into 1 into 1 is half. That is how we are going to use wherever variable tends to a non-zero quantity. This is how we evaluate the trigonometric limits. Now we have one more flavor of this is the factorization method. We can evaluate the trigonometric limit using the factorization method, and I'll try to explain it this with the example. And you have to remember all the a, because you have to go to the theory when we discussed about a cube plus b cube, a cube minus b cube, and a plus b whole square, a minus b whole square, a square minus b square. So the question here is limit x tends to pi 1 plus x sec cube x 10 square x. So we can use the factorization. Let us assume it to be 1 cube. So we have 1 cube plus sec cube x means a cube plus b cube. A cube plus b cube we know it's a plus b, a square plus b square minus ab. This is how we write. A is sec x here, or b you can take it as 1 or vice versa. So 10 square x is what? 10 square x is sec square x minus 1. So sec square x minus 1 you can assume it to be sec square x minus 1 square. So it will be a square minus b square formula. So sec x minus 1 and sec x plus 1. Sec x minus 1 and sec x plus 1. Right? You just cancel this plus 1 and whatever is remaining, because we know sec pi, because x tends to pi, sec pi is minus 1. Sec 180 degree is minus 1. So you can just put this minus 1 here. Okay. And then you get the result sec square pi minus sec pi plus 1. As I said, sec pi minus 1. Sec pi is minus 1. So you have minus 1 whole square 1 and then minus of minus 1, that is plus 1 by sec pi minus 1 is there, minus 1 minus 1. So minus 3 by 2 is come. This is just an example how to do this using the factorization method. Okay. Now coming to the evaluation of exponential and logarithmic limits. So we will apply here or use the expression, that is, the expansion should be known. Then only you will be able to solve this. You don't need to learn by heart, but still you need to know a bit about this. For example, 1 plus x to the power n. We'll use the direct result, but just have an idea about this. 1 plus nx plus n minus 1 by factorial 2x square plus n minus 1 n minus 2 by factorial 3 plus x cube. Then it will become n minus 1 n minus 2 n minus 3 by factorial 4 x to the power 4, like this. This will go on. What about log x 1 plus x? So log 1 plus x and log 1 minus x will do. Log 1 plus x and log 1 minus x. So log 1 plus x, it will be negative sign, but alternatively it will come. And then we have log 1 minus x also. Same expression will be there, only the sign will change. So log 1 plus x is x minus x square by 2 plus x cube by 3 minus x4 by 4. And what about log 1 minus x? We have minus x square by 2 minus x cube by 3 minus x4 by 4 minus x5 by 5, like this. And the fourth one is e to the power x, and we'll see e to the power minus x also. E to the power x is, the expressions are same, only sign will change. E to the power x will have all plus. So 1 plus x square by factorial 2 plus x cube by factorial 3. And e to the power minus x alternate negative positive. 1 minus x plus x square by factorial 2 minus x cube by factorial 3 plus x4 by factorial 4. Now coming to a to the power x. So this will be 1 plus x into log a. The base will be e. So log a base is e. And we have plus x square by factorial 2 log a base e, and then square it. Okay. Then we have important one, sin x, cos x and tan x. They also have expansion. Sin x, cos x and tan x. So this, and all these three series are different. They have nothing common. X minus x cube by factorial 3 plus x5 by factorial 5 minus x7 by factorial 7, right? Then we have the next one, cos x 1 minus x square by factorial 2 plus x4 by factorial 4 minus x6 by factorial 6. Tan x will be x plus x cube by 3 plus 2 by 15 x5. So these are all expansions you need to know. And when we are talking about the theorem which we can directly devise using this expansion, it's a to the power x minus 1 by x limit is x tending to 0. So log a base e, log a base e. The standard solution of if we expand log 1 plus x, then we know the expression now. So log 1 plus x by x equals what? Limit x tends to 0. It will be, you just have to expand this as we said, and then it will be solved easily. It will be simply 1. We will use them directly. Now if we just change this, the first one, that is e to the power x minus 1 by x, in place of this a, if I put e, what will happen? So we have log this same thing, log e, but a will be e. So e to the power x minus 1 by x, log x tends to 0 is log base is e, and this is also e, so it will be 1. It will be 1. Okay. So these are certain standard results. We can apply it here. Coming to the evaluation of limit of the form 1 raised to infinity. What does it mean? 1 raised to infinity. So we have to evaluate the limits of the form 1 raised to infinity. I'll just give an example, then you understand. And then I'll tell you actual result here. So you have 1 plus x raised to 1 to the power x. The limit is x tends to 0. So what do we do? X is 0, just put x as 0, 1 plus 0 raised to 1 by 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1 and 1 by 0 is infinity. So 1 raised to infinity. This form, how are we going to solve this? For this we have a very simple solution, direct solution. They are the way, there are certain ways we have devised it or proved it, but I'll tell you the direct formula. I'll give you an example and then I'll give you the expression. So we have this limit x tends to infinity, 1 plus 2 by x raised to the power x. So assume it to be equivalent to 1 plus fx and raised to the power gx. So fx is 2 by x here and gx is x. So fx and gx are two separate functions in this formation. And the limit is x tending to infinity in this case. So what do? You just have to take e, take the same limit. If it is x tending to infinity, just take the same limit, x tends to infinity. And fx and gx, just multiply them. Fx and gx. So e to the power limit x tends to infinity. You have fx as 2 by x, gx as s, x, multiply them. What do you get? E to the power limit x tends to infinity, 2 is a constant, so it will be e square. I hope you got the idea. This 1 to the power infinity, this is how we are going to solve it. So the final one is e to the power limit, whichever is x is say tending to infinity or pi by 2, whatever, fx into gx, when we have 1 plus fx raised to the power gx form. So there are certain result for this also, direct result I am telling you. Limit x tends to 0, 1 plus x raised to the power 1 by x. 1 plus x raised to the power 1 by x, and this is going to be e. Second is limit x tends to infinity, 1 plus 1 by x to the power x. This is going to be e. There is one more. Limit x tends to 0, 1 plus lambda x to the power 1 by x is e to the power lambda. Lambda can be any constant. E to the power lambda. There is one more. 1 plus lambda by x. The limit is x tends to infinity. 1 plus lambda by x raised to the power x is equal to e to the power lambda. So these are certain standard result, okay, for evaluation of 1 to the power infinity form. So this is all about this discussion. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.